What's happening, guys? We are back. I'm going to be posting a couple of videos today just because we have some different things going on, but I wanted to take some time and talk about fish, aquaponics, also some vermiponics, hydroponics, cracky methods, RFTs, the floating rafts and everything, just to kind of start breaking y'all into a liquid form of growing. We have experimented with this stuff a lot. For those of you that have seen some of my other videos, you'll remember that I had the barrels. Those barrels I've actually run a couple of different aquaponics off of. They were wonderful. They did amazing for my lettuces, things that needed a higher nitrogen, not necessarily heavy feeders. I have tried heavy feeders on them, but that's another story for a little bit later. So today we're going to be looking at my favorite take. This guy here is Loki. He is a dragonfish goby. I actually got this set up for free, just following our homestead rules, you know. We have our gnome Fernando with us today. He goes everywhere with me. Whenever we're just gardening around. I love this little guy. So we got him here with us, and we're gonna get some learning with y'all. So as you can see, these are actually live plants. So this whole setup is near a window in one of our bedrooms, and we just have like a gravel bottom. Everything in here is going to be pretty much accustomed to living in a river or something with brackish water. Now brackish water is where there's a slight salinity to it, so there's a small amount of natural occurring sea salt, so to speak, and I don't add salt. And the reason I don't add salt to this is because I tend to keep it just a touch dirty. And what I mean by a touch dirty is I don't really change the water but once every 2 weeks in this. Once every month if needed, if I can get away with it. Normally in a situation like this, since we do have live plants and live fish, we would probably, we would probably have some sort of testing strip or little vials that we could test the different amounts of ammonia, nitrates, nitrites, different chemical makeup in this water. Now, some of you remember, or may already know, that composting manure is what we use as fertilizer. Now, the reason we compost is it allows certain meat eaters that live on land to reach high temperatures, their manure, to reach high temperatures, which kills off things like Salmonella, E. coli, you know, typical illnesses or sicknesses that we as humans may have to deal with. Now, fish are going to be significantly cleaner, so to speak. Obviously, there's always going to be a downside to everything, and there's always going to be upsides. Aquaponics is great. The fish, when they poop and urinate, urea, it goes into the water, and it just kind of sits there. This is what they live in. They actually live in their muck, so to speak. We have to artificially supply air, which is positive. You can see the plants are really doing good, and all we have is air over here. Now back here, there is a filter. If y'all could give me 1 second, I will grab that, and we'll be right back. I didn't have them very far. I just didn't want to have to like step out of the way and have you guys just staring at a fish tank. So basically, these are just some clean ones I had chilling in some storage. What these are actually sponge filters. Now these are important because this is a form of what I believe is both mechanical and technically chemical filtration to an extent. Don't quote me on that, but it is at least one of those. Mechanical because it's going to at least filter out the debris. So what happens is something like this. This is our 20 gallon. There's a little hole there. So that is where you attach your airline. Now when you attach your airline, what it does, let's break this open for you. This is the bottom. It's basically just a weight. I don't know if you can hear that, it's kind of heavy. And this is the actual foam part. So this is going to be just a filter foam. It's nothing special, it's just kind of like a sponge, you know. It's a sponge filter. So this is the part where the air hose was connecting, and then this is, you can see there's like a tube that spits out air here, and this is where the filter would be. So what happens is whenever this is working and all put together, so it's like this, put that back on, and then so the tube would be in here. Okay, there we go. This is what would happen. The air would be pushed down through the air tubing that would go inside of here, and it releases it right around here. Now when it releases it, that air has to travel up. It's going to travel up, period. No question about it. If there's enough pressure to go down the water and actually force air out, it has to go somewhere, and it's going to go up. Now when it goes up, it's going to travel through that little tube in the center, all the way up through here, and then straight out. Now when it does that, it's actually going to form little locks between the air bubbles. So it'll be like air bubble locks, where it's just straight air every so often. Now in between that is naturally going to be water. So what it does is it actually forces water up. Now since water is being forced in a motion upward, it's actually going to be going through this foam here, up the tubing. Now this can benefit us in a lot of ways. You can get creative with it. All of my tanks run on these. Different sizes, but they run on these. Traditional filters cost hundreds of dollars. This cost me, let's see, I got 20 of them for like 80 bucks. You do the math, they're probably like $4 a piece that I paid. But I did some resourcing. I went on Facebook. I found a guy, he was actually an angelfish breeder. Shout out to him if he's watching this. I thank him so much all the time, because I got, like I said, almost 20 of these different sizes from him, from like 80 bucks. He hooked us up with some little clay pot breeders for the fish, where they can go and lay their eggs and stuff, and it was a wonderful deal. So find your own source, but these are phenomenal. Even at a store, they don't cost more than 50 bucks, which is still pennies on the dollar of what you would pay for a normal water pump. Now water pumps also use their own electricity. This runs on the air pump you already have to run. This is a 55-gallon tank sitting here. I have a 20 to 60-gallon aquarium pump that pushes the air on this side, and not this size, but actually I'm wrong. It does. It's a different setup, so it's actually going to be a little bit shorter. I bought this one at a store. It's an old one I have, but it's basically a little shorter, and you can see the clear difference. So basically the surface area is what's calculated per gallon on these guys. It can only have so much flow. You need a certain amount of air supply, you know, all that stuff. Something like this is what I actually have in my barrels, though. These are 40 to 60 gallon, I believe, and the barrels I have are 30 gallon. So, overkill. But it works, and we also have crawfish that are just thriving in there. So anywho, what the sponge does, it allows a lot of surface area and movement for beneficial bacteria and just different type of microorganism, micro life to actually start filtering out. So this is what allows plants to use the nutrients available in the water. That's the best way I can kind of just quickly sum it up for you guys. So something like this allows these plants to grow without them having to have their own surface area to convert the nutrients. Because there is beneficial bacteria everywhere. It's not just going to be on here. It's going to be in the rock. It's going to be on the plants, on the fish, anywhere it can latch onto, surface area. This is going to be just a mechanical filtration to filter out the main particles and kind of get that pumping. This can actually be turned into a water pump. Now think